So, friends, this story I got also from the Bianchi winner, Mashpia in YG in Melbourne, Australia. And he sent me this story that Rabbi Yitzchak Groner related. Now, friends, it's going to sound strange to your ears, this story, because Chabad, Kirub, and Mekad of every Jew, that's what defines us. So, dear friends, this took a lot of work. The Fidike Rebbe and our Rebbe and all the Rebbe. Now, let's explain. The from world that Kirub is totally foreign, or was, is based on Torah principles. First of all, the Torah says, stay away from a bad neighbor. The Torah says, if you grapple with someone who is sullied, you'll become sullied. And first and foremost, the Torah says, beautify yourself and then beautify somebody else. You're so perfect, you're telling somebody else what to do. Work on yourself. When you finish working on yourself, then you can start to giving mussar, whatever, with love, whatever it is. You start telling another Jew what to do. These are the basic givens in Yiddishkeit from always. That's a prevailing attitude. Aside from exposure and our children being exposed to secular Jews, the dangers, they've seen the dangers before their eyes. Communism took a great toll on Yiddishkeit. And before that, so did the Enlightenment. Starting with Napoleon, which all the great Rebbeim opposed tooth and nail. The Alter Rebbe Bereisha. And he saw the great dangers, and the thousands. So that's it. Everybody gets involved in that world. It's your choice, but we ain't going there. Assimilation, etc., heresy, epicurus, secularism. That was the attitude. You can't blame anybody for it. That's the only way to survive, is to create bastions and of Torah, of the shtetl. The shtetl survived. Jews, and the assimilation rate in the big cities of Europe, Hungary and Budapest and in Warsaw, Berlin, Redmond is not even talking about, was very high. Because the exposure to secularism. It's in the shtetlach. The Yiddishkeit survived because of its isolation, relative isolation. And so that was the attitude. And it's survival. So having that, the context of the story here. Because the Rebbe changed all of that. We're talking now, this is a story in the 40s. Rabbi Groner relates that once the Fidike Rebbe said, I'll say it in the Yiddish, and these words were shocking for the ear to hear. Man darf reingehen in ein Restaurant und schleppen von dort nach Jiden und ihm sagen, komm, davenen Minch. It's telling the Chassidim you have to go into a restaurant and the presumption is not a kosher restaurant. And drag a Jew out and say to him, come, daven mincha. By the way, such a story happened here. Chaim knows the story. Such a story happened here in Montreal. It was a Fabrengen. It was a Shabbos afternoon. Rabbi Eisenbach, Shalom Eisenbach, alles rein gesund. Was Fabrengen. I think it was Herschel Zeiten. Herschel Zeiten. He's the one that the two of them went. Herschel was Fabrengen. Everything was Fabrengen every Shabbos. And after Keteva Levi Melech Bayoyin, after significant L'chaim, and the Rebbe's message is getting in. And Ayid.
They went to the Brown. They went to the Brown Derby.
So I'm telling the story, So they went into the Brown Derby, and they made a patch on the table. Everybody's invited now to come and have chont in I think Herschel's house. I know exactly the words that they said. There's one Jew sitting there, I'm not going to say his name, who followed them, and his children, and now grandchildren, maybe even great-children, grandchildren, Chassidim. They went into the restaurant. I don't know if they knew this or not. And they said, come, eat shalom by us, come. But look at the reaction, the story, friend. There's not this. I'm getting to the story. That's the introduction. One of the Chassidim asked. There's a Frierdiker Rebbe speaking. One of the Lubavitcher Chassidim is saying, "This is our avodah, and what can be with our own avodah working on ourselves?" That was the reaction. In other words, he's saying, and we're already holding by anything that we can. The Rebbe is saying, "You go another yid schlep. What about schlepping me? What about me?" This is pneumius. I mean, this is coming from a place of avodah and pneumius. I have so much to work on myself, and have so many failings, and so you're telling me to fix somebody else. Got to fix myself. Listen to the Frierdiker Rebbe's words that Rabbi Groner related. Rabbi Yitzchak Groner. This is in Yiddish. I'll translate. Ein Bruder soll essen PUPIKES und sein Bruder wird sterben von Hunger. So one brother should eat PUPIKES. PUPIKES is the chicken. The
stomach of the chicken.
The what?
The stomach of the chicken.
Yeah, it's PUPIK. It's a specific part of the chicken. I don't know how you say it in English.
Yeah,
they don't serve it today so much. As a kid, we used to eat it. I don't know. That's maybe it's today. It's not PC. But nothing went to waste in those days. As a child, you eat the feet of the chicken too.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so one brother should eat PUPIKES. It's like a luxury, whatever. And the other brother's starving. It's a revolution. This isn't the 40s. Frierdiker still was able to speak, so the paralysis hadn't set in. It's got to be the mid-40s, maybe the early 40s. You can see the revolution starting then. You go into a restaurant, he's starving. What kind of cheshbon is this? Work on yourself. It's a glimpse into the shift in the whole attitude. And as I said, the Rebbe labored. Shlichus took decades that it became the norm in Chabad. Because it's unheard of. Pick up a young couple, pick up on God, the end of the world. There's no chinuch, there's no mikveh, there's no nothing. It's completely, the whole world looked at this aghast. Insanity. And in Chabad, it was like, was a war. A war. If you listen, we look at the hundreds of letters in the Fabrengens and the Yechidus and the stories, and parents were upset that the children were going. And those days, friends, no fax, telephone, there was no phone calls. Once a year was a phone call. Once a year, and your kid went on shlichus, you spoke once a year, maybe for a minute. Letters, photograph, that was it. Today it's already, FaceTime all day. Science has helped, technology has helped, but you have to understand what this meant to pick up and go to North Africa, to go to Australia, to go to.
It's a draft to the Jewish army, right?
Hicktown's USA. That was the biggest Mesiras Nefesh.
Rabbi, it's a draft to the Jewish army.
So the draft only works when it's compulsory. And here the Rebbe did it, not compulsory, volunteering.
Yeah, the beauty of bringing them in a volunteer way, beautiful.
That's not easy at all. And so we're getting a little glimpse here into a statement of the Frierdiker Rebbe and a response of a venerable chassid, which was completely appropriate. That's our avodah, and what's with working on us? That's the response. And the Frierdiker Rebbe's answer back. It's like a glimpse. It's really a beautiful. Okay, friends, have a wonderful day.